Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Global Sports Network. This Friday, the Rockets are in the pickle. The Texans not doing much better, looking and fighting for it, coach, and we're looking for general managers nowadays, folks. So it's going to get very interesting right now, and we'll be right back in just a few seconds.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Hello, everybody. John Foster, Chris Fernandez, back at the Edge, talking sports. A lot of stuff going on in Houston, of course, with the Texans and Rockets, Astros. Chris, you know, we went from a town that was the best almost on every front to a town that's in shambles on every front.
Right,
and the Texans are ahead of the whole bunch, I think.
Right.
And what's going on.
Right, and what we mean by that, folks, is that, you know, we had all our dominoes set up. Everything was ready, whether it was basketball, football, soccer. Now we're on disarray. We're trying to find and create a team, trying to find and create an Astros team, trying to find and create a Texans team. When we had everything, we had all the chemistry going. We had the players, we had the coaches, and now everything is just up in the air, John, especially with the Texans. And I think we commented about something that you wanted to go on to.
The other day, Cal McNair made a statement to John McClain and a big person on the national network news, and it was conflicting stories. And McClain was really upset. Of course, John McClain, the world-renowned John McClain, that speaks mostly for the Texans, but he does it on a national level. Hall of Fame news reporter, very close to Cal McNair and the family for many, many years, and the old Oilers. So
right.
He knows his football. Well, we have a general manager. Our coach left.
Right.
Got rid
Bill
of
O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, B.O.B. But the man that was connected with all the moves that he made, Chris,
right,
that haven't been good moves, that put us in a bad situation as far as players. The last 3 years, we've lost some of the best players that we have.
Right.
Chris, and
right.
It's not good. And now we're left with a shamble of a team that's trying to struggle. They're 2-7.
Right, that's correct.
They can't find a way to win. They've been in a lot of games that are real close. We got 7 games left. Well, anyhow, the story is, Chris, that Cal McNair, Easterby is our general manager right now. Now, they told John McClain that Easterby is the general manager, and the word was that he is the general manager and in charge until the new general manager is hired. Well, the national media person says that Easterby will be a big part of the team even when the general manager is hired. And that's a problem because Easterby is a part of a lot of the moves that Bill O'Brien has made. They were very connected by the hip. Now, you were explaining to me the other day, I said, you can't have this guy around, and you said that there's some legal case.
Well, Coach, very basically the way it works, Coach, if the legal lingo for this is that if you're in a corporation, if you're an employee, and you're a vice president, and you're formally a professional, most than anything else, then this is the way you conduct your verbiage. We just heard Jamie Root speaking about this and nodding and saying, yes, Jack Easterby is head of football operations, and yes, he will be the interim until the real coach and general manager are found. Then he's nodding to us basically that yes, we have no choice. This is the world we live in, and this is how it functions. You as a corporation, I'm going to say Memorial Hermann Methodist Hospital, leaves and opens a job. There's a job opening for secretary. Even though they may have a secretary waiting in the wing, even though they may have him interviewed already, or her, interviewed already, they must post it. They must keep saying that they're still hiring. And they must interview any and all candidates.
Okay.
Even though they have chosen someone or they haven't.
So you're saying, yeah, so there's a legal thing that says, because really Easterby, there's a lot of animosity in Houston. Most Houston people do not want Easterby to have anything to do with any decisions or anything to do with the club. And right now he's the man in charge.
And Jamie Root this morning, specifically just this morning, he said, the president of football, Houston Texans, said that, yes, right now, guys, fans, just give Jack Easterby an opportunity, give us an opportunity. Yeah. Let's see how things go. His hands are tied, John. Legally, their verbiage must be something that they must be careful saying.
He does have a lot of influence in the NFL. Easterby does have a lot of connection. He knows a lot of people, being connected with New England for years and years. So his part in finding the new general manager, the right general manager, and the right coach is a big part. You need somebody that's connected to have the word out there. But the problem is, and Houston knows this, if we bring in a general manager and Easterby still has to be around, there's a problem with that, because then you're the boss. He's the boss. You're hiring me, but you're the boss. A good general manager is not going to come in under those circumstances, Chris. It's not going to happen. A general manager needs to be the boss with one other person above him, and that's the owner. Okay, and they need to be connected. And if Easterby's around, then that's up to that general manager. Okay, so anyway, that's the story of the Texans. We got a lot of other things.
That's something again where the verbiage and the action must be something they must take care of and be aware of, because you just can't come up and fire the man because of the pressure and everything that's being put by media and by the fans. And both ownership and Jack Easterby know this. So Jack Easterby will bite his fingers till the end of the season, and everyone else will also, John. And this affects also, believe it or not, J.J. Watt.
I was just going to go there with J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, Chris, is very upset. I've never seen J.J. so upset. He doesn't like losing. He doesn't like to be, this is his third year out of 10 that he's in a losing season. Now, you know what fixes all this, Chris? Winning. They got 7 games left. They have a team that can win. They got to find a way to win. If they can win and win most of these 7 games, they're going to feel good about themselves. And I think that needs to be in the locker room.
I think I've always had the experience, John, that whether it's football, baseball, basketball, they not necessarily win right now, but to me, it's almost a greater benefit if they win the last 3 games of the season, the last 4 wins. That way, your next season, you start on
winning a good note. Exactly. Right. So this needs to be in the locker room that we're winning. We're trying to win. We're going and winning. And they're going to feel better the next week. And they win the next week. They're going to feel better the next week. They have a pretty winnable schedule. So if they need to put that together, then the team can at least have some strength.
J.J. Watt doesn't see some kind of chemistry, some kind of something coming out of the Texans by the end of the season, JJ's as good as gone. He's not going to wait until the ship turns around.
That depends on who comes in and their attitude. So you really can't say that right now. You have some general managers that wouldn't give up J.J. Watt for the world, and it depends on what J.J. Watt wants also. Sure. I mean, obviously he doesn't necessarily want out of Houston because he would have been gone a week or two
We'll come back and circle around to the Patriots and Texans this weekend. Let's go on to the Rockets. They're also in a little pickle with their owner and
Harden.
Harden, yes, Harden Westbrook. So go ahead, Coach, bring it up. Let's do it.
That's true. Okay, now Westbrook wants out. Harden wants out. They grew up together. They're friends, but they don't want to play together now. Right. That's the word. They don't want to play together. Hey, I can be your buddy, Chris, but I'm not doing radio with you anymore.
I'm telling you,
we
I ain't
can't
your
do this
friend,
anymore.
I ain't your pal.
It's over.
As sure as heck ain't your brother. Okay.
So that's the way it is. That's what we're talking just
about.
Like it is with us.
We talked about it as soon as they got Silas in there. I told you, Coach. They are these certain picky players. They will not play for just anyone, Coach. And that goes back to that.
Okay.
Silas doesn't have the experience.
All right.
I don't care what you tell me. They don't want to play for him, Coach.
Yeah, so now Harden wants out. Here's the problem, Chris. Harden's just opening up his own restaurant, hotel. He's supposed to be doing that. And then he says he wants to get out of town. He's owed another $50 million that he's going to get from the Rockets. That's guaranteed.
48.3.
And what's that, 2 more years, Chris? 2 more years for that. We paid him his money. He had his soup and cake and everything and his party. And now he wants out.
Right. It's
That's
kind of
not
like
right.
it's kind of
Unless
like what
we
I
can
said,
get-
John. They have another 43 million right now and 48 million towards the end of the season. I'm just doing his career. He may want to get out. He may ask to get out. As we talked about this 2 weeks ago. But
you got to get
will the
returned.
Rockets let him go? More than likely, they will not, and Fertitta will not.
For the
as
right
of-
price. What's
Right.
the right price? You can't
Right.
give up
I
an
believe he was
all-star, Hall of Fame inductee, one of the best players in the game, where you can't give him up and get pennies on the dollar like Bill O'Brien did over and over and over. With
And I
the
believe
Texans.
Fertitta
They're
had just
not
offered
doing
him.
that.
Fertitta had just offered him an addendum of 140-something million more, which he just turned down, John, a starting amount to keep him here.
To keep him.
And he also turned that down and said, I don't want to stay here because another issue, which was Fertitta was politically supporting Donald Trump. And that's something that
Well, that's something.
James Harden.
They get into this. That's
Yes.
ridiculous,
Yes.
guys. When you start, well, the owner does this, and I'm not going to play ball. Play ball. That's
Right.
ridiculous, Chris.
You know,
but I
and
hear you. I mean,
that's-
maybe they're
yeah,
doing
that's-
that. It's getting there to where nowadays
However it might be,
politics
yeah.
and who you play for go together. That
Right.
shouldn't be. This guy pays me a salary. I play baseball. I play football. I play basketball. Play
John,
basketball.
and
Play
the bottom
football.
line, like I've
Who
told
cares?
like I've told
Oh, boy.
everyone,
But
like I've told
That's
everyone,
where we're at.
you get paid to play. Guys, paid to play.
Yeah.
John.
That's what they paid you for.
Really?
Yeah,
You're gonna fight about
everybody's
politics?
Here's another thing. Everybody's going to have a difference in opinion on politics. First of all, Chris and I, we don't talk politics.
No, because I win every time, but that's fine.
But
That's
he
beside
does,
the point.
okay. Democrat here, Republican over here. But anyhow, I
Right.
don't know. I'm
Right.
middle. But
Okay.
anyway, it messes up everything. There's some people, Chris, that just, you can't talk politics with, and you
Right.
shouldn't. I don't do politics.
Chris for
All my
Congress.
media, I try not to. No politics, no religion. Not right now. Maybe another day, but not right now.
Maybe
It's
another
too
show,
controversial.
Yeah.
It's too. If you start mixing those two, you got a big problem.
But you gotta,
and it shouldn't
John,
be.
hand in
But it
hand,
is.
hand in hand, the issue we had earlier this season and
Yeah.
last year was NBA China NBA.
Okay.
Remember that? NBA is trying to sell to China, trying to say, you know what, if you don't want or this or that, then I want NBA to leave China. I mean,
Right.
that's political. That's very apolitical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no place for that in sports.
Yeah.
There's no place for politics in sports.
Yeah, and of course,
Just
China's gonna play that card, yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Just like when
So-
Donald Trump became president in 2016, 2016 and in 2017, there was no flying ban from different countries, different players, Middle Eastern players. There's no room for that, Donald Trump. There's no room in sports for politics. You can't do that. That doesn't jive.
Yeah.
It don't shake. It don't work.
Yeah,
So,
but Maury
yeah.
did. What did he cost? He cost them billions of dollars. The NBA pulling out of China cost the NBA billions of dollars. Cost each team hundreds of millions of dollars, including his boss.
Right.
Fertitta. And Fertitta right now, with all the restaurants he owns, Chris,
And it was a lot of
can't afford to
decades,
be
John.
losing more money on his
A lot of
team,
decades
which
moving
he's
into
losing money.
A lot of decades moving and working into
Hundreds
getting
of
into
millions
China.
of dollars, and I'm surprised he wasn't fired then by the NBA, by
But if you're
everybody.
gonna
But he's
be
he's a great guy.
If you're gonna be
You know,
politically correct, you need to be politically
sorry,
correct.
not
all
a
the way
great
around.
guy. He's a great general manager. Maury put together Houston. We had 5 years of great basketball or more. So I mean, we were number 2 or number 1. We're number 3. We weren't outside of that. Now we're hinging on possibly being out of the whole top 8.
Right. Remember, Coach, what I told you
If the
about,
moves aren't done right.
about the Rockets and Harden.
Yeah.
They're going to do enough
Yeah.
to get you excited.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I told you in 2016.
Yeah.
But they're not going to win a championship. It's exactly what I told you.
You did
and
say
that's
that,
what's
Mr.
happening.
Fernandez.
Yes,
I
sir.
think we're going to run out of time here. Before we go on break, catch us when we come back. We're going to be talking tennis,
Boxing, Coach.
boxing, tennis, and we have
Soccer.
soccer in
Woohoo.
Spanish.
En español.
All right, we'll be right back.
Be right back.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk,
And I bring the unity.
and together we talk about unity. Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just glad. Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk about unity because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Global Sports Network. I'm Chris Fernandez, John Foster, and we're going to go on and talk a little bit more about what is boxing, soccer. John, so we have a couple of fights on schedule between now
It's a good
and.
thing you're not fighting. You're looking over there at that camera that's
That's
not
right.
on. That's the one that's on.
Oh, that
That's
one
already has
was
eye
on.
problems this morning.
So I don't.
We
that-
do. You wanted to talk boxing today. I don't know
Right.
anything about boxing. What's boxing? What's going on?
Coach, I thought you said you
Tell me,
trained
is there
under-
some
under-
boxing? I don't know.
I thought you had trained under Angelo
No.
Dundee.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Well, guys, of
Angelo
course, you
Dundee.
know the heroes. Canelo Alvarez will be fighting December the 19th. Of course, he'll be fighting the Englishman, Mr. Smith. John,
Yeah.
Callum Smith will be fighting Canelo Alvarez this December 19th. And, of course, it's a super middleweight
I think
fight,
so,
John.
middleweight, yep.
And I think both fighters have lost a little bit of weight, John.
like
And
boxing, huh?
they're going into this. Well, no, it's Canelo Alvarez in my culture, Latino, Hispanic, Mexican
Yeah.
culture, of course.
You're from Mexico?
Of course, Canelo is also, Canelo is
didn't know that.
Mexican, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so he's a great champion, a great fighter for the majority of our culture.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's why I'm
Canelo, yeah,
reporting.
he's one of the greats, all-time greats right now, no?
That is correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
pound for
He
pound,
is.
one of the best fighters.
He is. I particularly don't like him. I don't think he's my hero.
So
but-
there's another
Sure.
fighter that was considered pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Junior.
And he's going to take on Iron Mike Tyson
That is
soon
correct.
here.
Right,
Yeah.
that fight also is coming
You
up,
know,
John.
I apologize, Chris. We've been going back and forth, and I don't know why I got this mixed up. But I kept thinking it was Mayweather. Your brother kind of cleared.
He said,
Mayweather's
I
father.
apologize.
I don't know.
We may not hear that
Brain
again,
gets-
guys.
Too many punches in the ring, Chris. I took, back
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
It had to been that. Not tennis rackets, right?
Anyhow, Roy Jones Jr., who was a great fighter, pound for pound, one of the greatest fighters in the world, but he was never a heavyweight.
Right,
Okay, he
right.
was never a heavyweight. To get in there with Mike Tyson, I'm worried for him. But he's a tough guy. I mean, I'm sure he's in shape. So, and Mike looks to be, you've been shooting me those
Yeah.
pictures.
He-
Mike Tyson seems to be in the shape.
For
you know.
54, John, oh my gosh.
But the problem is, Chris, when you go up in poundage like that, which we don't need to talk to Roy Jones Jr. about going up in weight, I'm sure he knows the animal that he's facing,
Right, right, of
or
course.
the fighter he's facing, the animal in the fighter.
Well, believe it or
And
not,
Mike
it's
is-
supposed to
Mike
be
is a
it's
bear.
supposed to be a heavyweight, but
Yeah.
it actually got dropped down to middleweight. Welterweight fight, John. That's what it is.
What is this?
And Roy Jones, instead of fighting the 20 rounds, they're going to fight a whole lot less rounds, John.
Yes.
And of course, the advantage will now be Tyson because Tyson's the older fighter. and Roy Jones is a younger
Right,
fighter.
he's 54, and Roy
51.
Jones is 51.
Right.
Yeah, they don't need to be doing 12 rounds. You know, Chris, when I was doing some boxing here in Houston in '87 with Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Melvin Taylor, Vinny Pazienza, Mike McCallum, just to name a few people that were all in town together in '87. Evander Holyfield had just won the Olympics. He wasn't even light heavyweight champion of the world yet. Wasn't even up to heavyweight. This is Evander Holyfield. Even though Lou Duva and the camp Georgie Benson down in Kenny Weldon's gym down in Pasadena where we were training back in '87, they all knew that Evander Holyfield was going to be the world's heavyweight champion of the world. We knew that for years and years. After that, I would meet people, you know, and they didn't know what I knew and who I was around. But that was a set thing. And I had bets 10 years before Evander knocked out Tyson and took him to the brick house, you know, for his beatdown. We knew that he would beat him, okay?
Sure.
So anyhow, I got off subject there, Chris. What bring me back around? Well, Tyson is going to be fighting Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr., Tyson's 3-4 years older. I don't think that's a big age, you know, gap that makes a whole lot. But they don't need to be going. Oh, that's where I was going. They don't need to be going 12 rounds.
That is correct.
Back in the day, that's what I was going to do. Back in the day, they went 15 rounds. I watched Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, okay, and he was in the same league with Thomas Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. These guys did not want to fight Mike McCallum. One, there was no money in that fight. When somebody can beat you, you don't take that fight, okay, unless the money's there. So there's got to be a payoff. So there was no money to fight. So finally, Mike McCallum, through Lou Duva, got the fight to fight Donald Curry in Vegas, and I was there training with him here in '87. I didn't go to Vegas with him. I should have. But anyhow, and he knocked out Curry, and that's when he got his title, and Mike went on from there. But Mike was a great fighter that just didn't have the connections to get that fight.
You know, John, sometimes, you know, people ask, well, how come this? And I think I gave you the example, and I've given folks the example. I've had kiddos in the youth camp for the Houston Dynamo, and I've represented several of those kids that came from Colombia, South America, that played soccer with the Houston Dynamo. And the big thing, the big difference is that some of those youth kids that come up, 15, 14, 16, 18 year olds, and they're stuck there, John, basically. And I've interviewed and I've talked to a few of them, and they're like, I play better than this guy, I play better than that. Okay, but what do you different? What do you have different that guy doesn't have? Nothing, we're both the same. I said, no, wrong. That guy has representation and has someone to represent him in the front office and gives him the paperwork and tells him, look, my guy does this, my guy does that.
Yeah.
Who do you have? He said, I don't have anybody. That's why.
And that's the difference there.
That's
but
the
I'm
big
sorry, I
difference.
keep getting off track. Let me finish this up. So they're going to fight, I think, 8 rounds instead of 12, which they're older. They don't need to be going that. You know, one, I hope they both get out of there healthy, to be honest with you. I really do. Because I think not, you know, at that age, even when I was training fighters for Angelo Dundee, there were some guys that just should not box anymore. It could be death in the ring, okay? You've been in too many car accidents, you can't get in one more. So I hope that both these guys come in out of that fight, mostly Roy Jones Jr. being a lighter fighter and not taking a heavyweight blow like that, especially if the referee doesn't get in there and stop it after he gets knocked out and he gets 2 more punches in or 3 more punches when he's already in a car accident. You can't do that. It's like being in a car accident and somebody comes up and punches you, a pro boxer punches you in the head a couple more times.
You know,
All right.
Roy Jones
Now-
Jr. was also a champion.
So he was
Olympian.
4
Yes,
times.
sir.
And when Chris was a champion, was pound for pound probably the greatest fighter of all time. So I mean, he's got his own credentials behind him. But he was never a heavyweight, Chris. Now back in the day, I watched Mike McCallum go 15 rounds when Lou Duva came into town. With 5 rounds with brand new fighters. All the sparring partners had the same. Curry was a lefty. So they brought in guys from all around the country that had that Curry style. And I watched him go 5 rounds. It was a closed gym down in Kenny Weldon's gym in Pasadena. 5 rounds. I'm right there on the ring like this with Tommy Bonetta and watching him go 5 rounds with one fighter, 5 rounds with another fighter, and 5 rounds with... I've never seen somebody sweat so much when they got out of it. He sat there and just profusely sweating. And that's tough, man, to go. And then imagine fighting 10 rounds or sparring, and then you got to go another 5 rounds with a fresh fighter. in the 10th round. And that's what Duva wanted to do. And I remember that
Yeah,
evening.
different
Here's a little
style
tidbit
also,
for you.
John.
Here's a little
But,
tidbit for you guys. So we get in the hotel room, the Holiday Inn here on 59, and we start talking. And Tommy's all upset at Mike. He says, "How come you took so many left hands?" He says, "You can't take 2 left hands from Curry. And those amateurs hit you 5 times with a left hand. If Curry hits you once or twice with a left hand, it's over." And Mike says to him, Mike goes, "Well, Lou's telling me to do this." So the game plan was, little insight, the game plan was, all right, well, you do what Lou wants you to do, because that's who got you to fight. But come fight time, you're going to do what you do.
Right.
Okay? So right there in that room, that was the game plan. So he had to listen to Lou, but when the fight came, Mike did what he did, and he knocked Curry out in the 6th round in Vegas. I got more stories on that another time, Chris. We got things to talk
Sure,
about.
definitely. Skipping around and going to something else, John.
Yeah.
Houston Dynamo this week unveiled their new team logos, along with the Houston Dash, which is the feminine side of the Houston Dynamo, of course, John. And gotta tell you,
There's women that play soccer too? What is this?
yes,
Oh.
Dash. I've been at all their
Just
tryouts.
kidding.
I've been all the tryouts. I've covered all their tryouts for the Dash.
Yeah.
Over 200 to 300 women trying out for
Yeah.
the Houston Dash.
That's awesome. They're athletes. Oh man, great.
They are athletes.
Great
Yes, sir.
athletes. Yep.
Yes, sir.
JJ's married to one of them.
Yep, she was
They shipped
exactly.
her off, but they lost her. Houston lost JJ's wife. Yeah.
Will be probably JJ had something to do with that, but very good. She's a very good player. Well, yeah, you want. If it was me, I wouldn't want my wife showing the goods and being out there and doing. I don't know. That's just very
She's playing
sexist.
for another
perhaps.
team, just in another state, Chris. How can you be
Oh,
married to
okay,
somebody?
that's what it is then.
Yeah.
But John, going back to the logos, they unveiled the new logos. Did not like the logos. They look too much like the Mets logos with a bunch of lines and very much squared.
Yeah.
Did not like the new Houston Dynamo logos or the Houston Dash logos. And for the season, Tab Ramos, I think someone had put something on Facebook about, the logos are awesome. I quoted on there, and I just said, look, as far as I'm concerned, professionally, they are the worst. I've seen they're not very good. I think they need to concentrate more on the roster than on their logos. But that's just me. Tab Ramos said this week, we do
I
have
would
to
think
have.
so.
Tab Ramos said we have to concentrate on the roster and on the team. We need better players. We need 2 forwards, 2 linemen.
I thought you
And
were going to do this in Spanish.
no lo puedo hacer en español. Después lo hablo en español.
No? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
But Tab Ramos, of course, was also on the U.S. team in '98 and the '90s. Tab Ramos, soccer player. But he spoke and he said that that's what they're looking at. Their record was 4 wins, John, 9 losses, and a handful of ties this season in MLS in a short season during the 2020 season. Correct. Yeah. And I think going back to basketball, talking about the records, I think it was Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
This
Klay
one?
Thompson is
Yeah.
out, man, and big talk in
Yeah.
the NBA. But the
Golden State.
Golden State, they did make a move, Chris. I don't know the name of the person that they replaced him with, but they did pick up a good pickup. It's not, of course, Klay Thompson level. Klay's one of the best.
He busted his
big
Achilles
part of
heel,
it.
John, this
Well,
weekend.
Huh?
He busted his Achilles heel.
His Achilles
During a
on his
pickup
right
game,
right
John.
leg, and he hurt his left knee, I believe, and now
Is
it's
that
his right
ACL?
Achilles.
Correct.
Sometimes when you have an injury, like I do, other things go wrong. If you don't fix it right away, or and then you keep operating, other things in your body can go wrong. So that's a big problem. Well, I think we're going to take a little break here, but we do have some tennis news, Chris.
Sure, and we'll come back
in
around
London,
with
they're playing the big, what I know is the Masters. I keep calling it the Masters. It's not the Masters anymore,
But, okay.
There's the top 8 players in the world. They're playing in London, and I believe they're down to the semifinals. Djokovic is in the mix. Nadal is in the mix, even though Nadal took a loss. And we'll talk more about that when we come back.
Yeah,
right?
and we'll talk a little bit of Texans. Of course, we'll cover this week's
Texans,
game.
we got the game
And
to
we'll
cover.
cover last night's game, of course, which was the
Oh,
Cardinals
yeah.
versus Seattle. And we'll go over that in just a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and go to break, guys. We'll be right back. Global Sports Network.
Five, four, three, Ignition. Liftoff.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk,
And I bring the unity.
and together we talk about unity.
unity.
Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just glad. Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk About Unity because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters.
This is former Rocket Robert Reed,
This is Mel Hewitt of Athletes United.
and we want to talk to you about our new program and podcast. We're talking about former athletes who are doing a lot of things in the community.
Various athletes in various sports, swimming, track, soccer, football, baseball, you name it.
Former and current athletes here in the greater Houston area.
All promoting wellness, health, all promoting that which makes us all better.
Of Edge Radio, truth still matters.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Global Sports Network with John Foster. John, we're talking Texans coming back this next section, John.
Yeah.
We're looking at a rebuild for next year, but for this year, come Sunday, the Patriots come calling
Patriots.
without Tom Brady. John,
No, it's
what do you
Tom
think?
Brady. Where did he go? Oh, Tampa Bay.
Tampa
That's right.
Bay, that is correct.
Well, anyhow, it looks like the Texans could be in for a long day. The Texans are the worst run defense in the league, or one of the worst, down
Right.
in the 30s somewhere.
Right.
And New England is one of the best
One of the
running
better ones,
offenses.
right. One of the better
With Cam
running offenses.
Newton and the whole thing they have going, a good offensive line.
That's right.
That's how they're winning right now. Definitely the Texans have their hands full
Sure.
here, Chris. And
Yep. And Cam Newton, of course, will be playing, John. He's back, and they have a running offense that any kind of offense right now with any kind of team the Texans have trouble with, especially their tackling, John. And they've made emphasis about it, and they've worked on it. But we saw it last week again. You know, we saw that the tackling was not there. 5 missed tackles on
Yeah,
one run
it's-
alone,
It's
John.
really crazy, Chris, and you got a lot of people talking. Cunningham's a great linebacker, supposedly. Now, here's the word, Cunningham, nowadays, sometimes he tackles like an all-pro Hall of Famer, and then other times he's tackling like he doesn't know what he's doing. Now, I didn't make this assessment. I've heard this from other great announcers, that he's not always on cue. And we know that, Cunningham has the most tackles on the team. So this is the problem, very inconsistency. And where does that come from, Chris? Coaching. So the Texans have not only been surrounded by inadequate talent right now on mostly on the defensive end, and we finally got rid of Carter, who was the biggest mistake for years and years, and this year and last year. Dropped the fumble in the Kansas City game, dropped the ball in the Baltimore. I mean, this guy should have been gone along. When did he ever run back and kick for a touchdown?
Not that I know of, John.
Why have this guy? So, what does he do? What was Bill O'Brien's thing? You got to be consistent. No, what are the 3 things? Anyhow, dependable, reliable,
Right.
durable, and tough.
Tough, right.
And Carter was not that. He wasn't reliable. He always made mistakes. And then Kiki Kuti, he drops one ball after having a very productive game before dropping the ball. And he benches him. Talk about, not letting a guy get back up. The guy that shouldn't have got back up is Carter. Well, he's finally gone. Thank goodness, Chris.
In a professional world, when something like that happens and one of your professionals, a wide receiver, be it a fullback, tailback, wide receiver, is either hit or mistakenly misses the ball, you don't punish him like a little kid, John, like if he's in junior high or worse. You give him the opportunity. You leave him in there as it were,
especially if he's
in baseball.
Productive until that
give him the
drop.
chance,
You want to
John.
give him the ball the next time.
Right.
What did Watkins do one time? One of his guys, I think Kenny Stills, dropped the ball.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't Stills. But anyhow, what did he do? The next play, they went right back to the same play and he caught the ball.
Right.
Okay?
That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Play,
You give the gentleman, the guy,
So,
the opportunity to make up for what he did.
you either believe in somebody or not. They were running some tapes of games when Carter dropped the ball, and Andre Ware, who knows his football, okay? Everybody knows Andre Ware in Houston, okay?
Right.
And Andre Ware, you can hear him say in one of the Baltimore Ravens game, say, okay, all we need to do is secure this ball here on this punt. There goes the punt, and oh my, he dropped the ball. And this is, it's almost like he could predict it.
Right.
That's how unreliable unreliable Carter was.
Yeah, he said, don't go and fumble this, and then boom,
I'll
fumble.
give you another example. They ran the tape, like 4 or 5 times where he, on big plays, look, we just got to secure the ball. Oh, Carter drops the ball. This is funny. They did they were doing something for warm-ups, and they were supposed to do something. This is just a couple weeks ago. And they kicked the ball, and they were doing a tape for somebody, and Carter's supposed to catch the ball, and then they're going to do a dance or do something around it. And he dropped the ball, and everybody just looked at each other like, well, what are they supposed to do now, It's a
John,
joke. So he's finally gone.
I know as much as you have and you've gone with me training camp, they work, much time is spent on working on catching the football from close range, just as well as from far range. Quarterbacks throwing, have the machine in front of you about 10 yards away from you, and they'll catch the ball here, they'll catch the ball here, they'll catch the ball here. They have those drills for a reason, John. So
but
that you don't
catching
drop
the ball
them.
has nothing. I hear what you're saying.
Right.
It has. You know what it has? It
Right.
has to do with
But
this.
I know. But
Right
what I'm
here.
saying, no,
right here.
listen
You're
to me.
either a winner or you're not.
Right.
You're
Listen to
either a
me.
person that's reliable or
That-
not.
that's
and
supposed
time
to-
after time
right.
he proved he wasn't
John,
reliable.
But that's supposed to help you with the physical. If you let me finish. It's supposed to help you with the physical skill of catching and putting the ball away. That's what it does. Everything else that goes beyond that is your mental capacity to carry on that play past catching the ball. But you got to catch the ball first, John.
It's about knowing people. You either have winners, Djokovic, or you have somebody else that never gets in the top 10 that can't pull off that big point.
win, right.
And Djokovic, Federer, Nadal give them a big point. What's going on, Chris? We all know.
Yeah.
He's closing this out.
Right.
So there's people that are closers and people that'll never be closers. Well, they'll close sometimes.
And
They'll close every now and then.
Yeah,
but they
John.
won't close. Guys that are winners, they close. And when you put a guy in a position like that for years and years, you got to know, hey, if he had never dropped the ball, but he never ran one back for a touchdown, or even gave you a big return, which he never did, why do you have him there? He's not reliable, and he doesn't run the ball back. It's a total joke on Bill O'Brien's error.
Right.
Okay, we got a lot of other things to talk about.
And talking about closers, John.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros, and I suggested this, is that they pick up via free agency or a rookie, pick up a closer that's going to help you next year. Pick up a starter that's going to help in the bullpen. That's going to help you. And I don't know with George Springer.
With the Astros,
he's gone
yeah.
and he's going, or what
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
haven't
with him,
heard
John.
too much lately. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yes, that's
it looks
correct.
like Springer's going to want his contract and move on, which I'm very sorry to hear. But who knows?
Well, you got to look at the cap money. You got to look at the money they have out
So
there
if
right now.
Springer
John.
goes, we got to keep Correa. Okay, Carlos Correa is going to be a big part. And in this last postseason, Correa came up big. He said he'd come up big, and he did come up big. So if we can keep our hands on Correa, then we still have,
John,
some.
do you remember that big question in
our
September?
main signs. What's
Do you remember that big question in September? That I asked you which one of the professional teams is going to get to a championship first?
Oh yeah.
And I told you the Astros.
Yep.
because I didn't think the Texans were going to
And
do
this is
anything.
after you're talking about another championship, right?
Yeah,
Not including
right.
the one that we had. He's talking last year,
Right.
the next
Which
championship
team?
from Houston.
Which professional team
Right.
is going to come up with the championship first?
Yeah.
The Astros, the Texans,
Yeah.
or the Rockets? That's what we're talking about.
Right.
And in this case, even the Dynamo.
Right.
Let's put all four of them in there.
All four.
And I said the Astros. They're the fastest, quickest one we can fix.
Yeah.
Texans,
yeah.
you're looking at another 2
and,
years.
and at the time last year, the Rockets were still, considered. Some people knew that the Westbrook Harden thing wouldn't work, but some people were convinced, and then that proved that. Although, the Astros, no doubt, they still have team around them, and they kind of proved that this season by knocking off the A's and doing what they did, and they were right there with Tampa Bay actually.
It's a little disappointing, a little heartbreaking for Correa, and I know that the Altuve errors in 2 back-to-back games really caused the
that was
championship.
big.
But I think Correa towards the last game, they really believed they could come back, and they did.
And they did. They did. And, but also Correa cost us those 2 games, but he also won us 2 games back.
Altuve.
So,
Altuve.
Altuve. He won us, and Carlos Correa. Altuve, God, hey, you know what? Altuve can do anything. We got that 2017 championship,
hey, John,
and that, for me, his contract was paid for and done.
I tell you
I think people should agree.
Did I tell you my Altuve moment?
No.
Can I say it?
You got what?
I was at a restaurant. Hey, Vince.
Oh, they'll think he looks a lot like Altuve.
I was at a restaurant, and I had my tight jeans on for whatever reason, and I had my baseball cap on, John, and I went by this table of older folks, right? And I went to get my barbecue, whatever it was, and I had somebody tap me in the back, say, "Excuse me." It was this lady, really older, nice lady.
Yeah.
She was, "Are you Altuve?" I was like, "No." She said, "You look like Altuve." I'm sorry. I said, "No, I'm not. I'm not Jose Altuve."
It does have that look. I'm surprised you don't get more of that.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to work with my brother John. It's out there in the audience right now.
Johnny's here.
I worked in the courtesy booth at Kroger's, and he worked on the floor, produce. Yeah. And I came into my scheduled time, and I had this one young girl come by and grab me in the back, in the lower back.
She did.
And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were John." I said, "He's my brother."
Oh.
Yeah. So I've had that happen where
you're not that good looking, Chris.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Altuve, but your brother, you can't.
Well, I'm not tall enough.
Well, hey, we got a little more sports to talk about too, with tennis even.
Right.
All right, tennis.
What's up with tennis, John?
All right. So in London, we got the what I call the Masters, but now it's not. It's the final 8 players in the world playing, and Djokovic and Nadal are 2 of the favorites here. We got Djokovic. Nadal was knocked off. Tim knocked off Nadal. Now what they do is they play a round robin. They divide them up into 2 groups, and Team had a good win over Nadal, but I believe Nadal won wound up being in, they got semifinals and the finals. They take the top 2, they play semifinals and then finals. So Saturday and Sunday, if you like tennis, I suggest you tune in. You're watching the top 8 players play in this, and it's in London. There's no audience members, Chris.
Right.
In the Australian Open, which is coming up in January, they're already working out ways. Once again, nobody attending, or maybe very little attendance, and they're finding out how to put a bubble around the tennis in Australia so we can have the Australian Open this year.
Well, guys, it's coming down to what's being done this week. I want to thank everybody. Next time I see you guys, it'll be right after Thanksgiving, John. Just a reminder, everybody, Thanksgiving Day, Houston Texans play the Lions, and the Texans have a great chance of winning that one next week. This week, however, they will be facing the Patriots here in town. No Tom Brady. No Tom Brady, but I think Patriots still win this game here at NRG, John.
Wow.
They're still winning 21-17.
I agree with him. I think the Texans can have an upset there and possibly do it. But I wouldn't put my money on it. I'm not a gambler anyhow.
Stay safe, everyone.
Go Texans. Everybody be safe. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next Friday at The Edge, 1540 AM, Houston, 100.7
FM.
Galveston. Yes. Have a great week, everybody. Happy.